Hello there everybody. So for my final video tonight, I wanted to show off what I believe is the best way to get the new Legends title in Incursions. So I had been pushing this for, pretty much the entire month since I found out there was a Legends title, because I've been meaning to get a Legends title pretty much since I started the game like 5 years ago, and I've never just gotten around to gathering the resources, so I saw that this was a way to do it. And I decided that I was going to go hard work all the way and figure out how I was going to do this. So at first, what I usually do for incursions is I always have Hercules, and then I usually try to do Thing once it gets a little heavier, but that's just a really slow roll. So I created something, well, I didn't create it, but I came up with a strategy that I am coining as the God Trinity, or the God strategy, because I think this is the easiest way to push to Sector 25, especially with the free revives that we're getting in this meta right here, where we can spend like I think it's the danger units or whatever it is to get some revives. So for this run, I spent a total of 9 revives. So even if this was just a normal incursion, despite the new hacks, it would be about 160 units, because I think the base 1 revives, which is all you need to use for this team, are 52. So that's 52 units. So you're going to need about 460 units total if you want to do this without the free revives, which I highly recommend that you get the free revives, because the 6-star shards are only one and done, and once you're out of those, there's really not a lot else worth buying. But for this, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to have Hercules. He is the centerpiece. I think you could do it with a 5-star. I personally have a rank 4 Hercules. As high as you can get the Hercules is really what you want, because he is going to be pretty much, I think there was 1 fight I did without Hercules, maybe 2, and that was just because I needed Gallon to win 1 fight for the Herald ability. So what I did was I started out with Hercules, Gallon, and Odin. I immediately put the pre-fights on, the Odin pre-fights on Hercules, just to give him that little extra bonus protection from buffet, which is really the main thing that those are going to be used for. The aptitude's nice, the damage cap is nice, shock resistance with the Herald ability is going to give you pretty much full resistance to shock, which is nice, but really you want it because there's a lot of nodes on this one that are going to be buffet or are going to remove your buffs. And if that happens to your immortality, then the thing is really messed up, and you don't want that at all. So you start out with those 3, put the Odin pre-fights on immediately, win 1 fight with Gallon. I might have done 2, just because he's really good for the mini-boss of Viv Vision, and he takes her out pretty much instantly. So I might have done 2. I believe I just did 1. So I immediately made him a Hercules, a Herald. Sorry, and I gave him the pre-fights. Then after that, I swapped out both of those, Odin and Gallon, for Thor and Heimdall. Heimdall makes sense, right? Because he's going to give you that little, brief he's going to save you before you die, not trigger your immortality, which is really nice. Tank a special 3. That's obvious. People all the time have Heimdall. But the sleeper pick here is Thor. Thor himself isn't really going to... I never fought a fight with Thor and or Heimdall. He's not really going to do anything for you offensively, but there's 2 really big synergies you get from Thor that you want to pay complete attention to, and this is something I didn't know about. I discovered it. I'm sure somebody's done it before, but I discovered it, and it made my life so much easier. So Thor has a synergy with Hercules, or I guess Hercules has a synergy with Thor, where when he's below 5%, below or at 5% health, he's going to get 100% perfect block on parries, which obviously is going to give you, that longer stun and a little bit of a safety net. You're not going to trigger your immortality on a parry. And with Heimdall, he has an ability to regenerate 15% of your missing health, which sounds like, whatever, because it's missing health, but when you're playing Hercules, you're probably towards the end of the zones going to have him at low health all the time. And what this does is it allows you immediately, once you're in a fight, if you're at below 5% health, parry, and then do the Heimdall synergy with Thor, where you're going to be getting the 15%. Apologies, my camera's falling down. You're going to be getting the 15% regen, which is going to give you a huge safety net. You're going to have 15% to play with. The parries are going to be free once you're below 5%, so it's really good survivability. So with Thing, that's a really cool thing with the protection if you have him at max sig, where you're not going to be taking any damage if you're at full rock stacks, but it takes so long Thing is not an offensive champion. He's a defensive champion. That's just how it is. Hercules is pure offense. And once you get him ramped up, his damage is the best in the game for incursions. He is better than Angela with the full buffs. That's what I was doing originally because I love Angela. I love that synergy she has. But at the end of the day, the full buffs can always get screwed up. The regeneration can get reversed. They can get heal blocked. The fury can get buffeted. There's so many things that can go wrong. With this 100% perfect block chance, you have the Odin pre-fight so it can't get eaten immediately, and you get 15% regeneration, which doesn't count as a buff at the beginning. So even if there's against a Mephisto or anything that's going to prevent you from getting buffs, you're still going to get that regeneration. And that regeneration is going to be crucial because it's going to keep you alive, and once you're below 5% health, if your immortality can't trigger, parry, wait for whatever it is to fall off, and you can trigger your immortality. And then you can trigger the regeneration if you haven't already, and it's going to be easy as cake. I legitimately didn't think it would be this easy to get a Legends title because I thought it was going to be impossible. I thought I was going to have to save a bunch of units. I probably spent 250 units, which is not a lot at all. I mean, that's the equivalent of a day's grind in Arena. And I got it immediately. Like, it was the first time I tried it. I had to go back once. But it was the first time I tried it, and I got it. I got the Legends title, which is like, the big thing in this incursion, just by doing this strategy. And there is a couple things that you're going to need or you're going to want that might be a little harder for some people to get, so this isn't just anybody. Obviously, you need Hercules, you need these champions. The only champion that needs to be at a higher rarity, of course, is Hercules. He's going to be doing all the work. Ideally, you want a passable Gallon, because you do have to do that one fight, but he's so good against that the Vision boss that you really can have a pretty... Like, I've done it with a 4-star Gallon before. I did it with a 4-star rank 4 Gallon because I wanted to have 2 Heralds when I was trying to do the Angela strat, and it was fine. So you don't really need anybody super high rarity except for Hercules, which I highly recommend having anyways, just because in this game Hercules is currently the MVP. I mean, he's good for everything. But you want that Herald ability on him. You really do, because it's going to give you a couple things. The power burn immunity, great against Vision. You're not going to get power burned, which is just really nice. Also, the resistance to damaging debuffs. This is essential. It's going to turn Hercules into a healing machine if you have suicides on, which you should. You should have suicides on if you want to do this right, because it's going to give him healing. It's going to completely cancel out pretty much any minor tick damage you're going to get. You're going to heal it back because you're going to be 85% resistant to bleed, 55% to poison, and then that poison regen is going to be a lot less because it's Hercules. Regen reduction is going to be a lot less because it's Hercules. So you want suicides on for this. Here in this Kate Bishop fight, I spent the more revives on this fight just because the nodes were a little wacky than any other fight. I think I spent 3 or 4, and had it not been for this fight, I would have gotten through this in 5 revives, which is, I believe, how much. I think they might give you 4 you can get for free just doing the danger rooms. So it's really this is the best way to do it. And I'm very impartial. Like, a lot of times I'll be like, oh, maybe my opinion isn't correct. This is how you want to do it. Trust me, because that regen's going to be crazy. The immortality, the perfect block. This team was made to do this. And then Odin pre-fights, you don't really need a specific rarity. I have a 6-star Odin. I'm very lucky in that. But you're really, like, the main thing you're going to want to use them is just for protection against buffet. If you come into a fight and they have buffet on it, those pre-fights are going to get eaten, and then if there's some sort of damage, it's just immediately going to go to immortality. So you do want the pre-fights, but it doesn't need to, like, you can do a 3-star Odin if you want, you can do a 2-star Odin if you want. It does not matter. What matters, the only thing that really matters, is suicides, and the fact that he's a Herald, and just a high Hercules. I think, I'd have to ask somebody to test it for me, I think you could do this with a 5-star Hercules, because the damage is really coming from him, and the utility is coming from him with that immortality. You want the immortality ability unlocked. I'm trying to think if there's anything else you really need. High Sig, preferably, always. Obviously, it's Hercules. But I think you theoretically could do it with a pretty low Sig Hercules, because there's a lot of hacks. You want to make sure you get these. Restart the game if you don't get these base off. They give you increased buff duration. You want a relic on Hercules. You want a relic. I chose Thor because there are a lot of hacks that can give you the armor up, which can reduce your damage a little bit, which will give you a little bit more healing on the suicides. Also, just make your parries a little safer once you get to the really, really high zones. I believe this is zone 24. So Thor's probably the best relic you could use. You don't need to use him. You could literally put Venom on. It doesn't matter. You need a relic. because it's going to give you, with those hacks, increased buff duration, and it's just going to make you a little bit more powerful with all the other hacks, and that extra combo can save your butt. It saved my butt many a time. But yeah, Thor, if you have him, Venom if you don't, I believe Kamala Khan, if anybody has that one, you could use it. You just want a relic. Draining Degeneration, that's probably the other one that I would really vie for. The Armor Burst is great too, because if you have the Thor relic, you're going to get some extra damage resistance from it. But what you really want is any relic, and you want, I think it's all out buffs or all out effects. You want that one because it's going to make your immortality 20% longer, and it's also going to give you more reinforcement hacks, which is great. And then you want Draining Degeneration. And you want Draining Degeneration for two reasons. First of all, because you actually can get a lot of damage just out the gate with this. And second of all, because Draining Degeneration prevents them from getting to a special 3. There was a Spider-Man fight earlier in this video where he was immune to it, and it was a little bit annoying, but I don't believe I have either of the heavy hacks, which you really want for Hercules. In this one, I think I get it after. But Draining Degeneration is like a permanent version of the degen hack, because they're not going to be getting to a special 3, and you're going to get degens based on your attack rating for every second heavy you do. You're going to get 2 if you have a relic, 1 if you don't. Have a relic. Put a relic on. Put a cosmic relic on him. It doesn't matter which one. Put a relic on him. Trust me. And Draining Degeneration makes it a lot faster and a lot safer. I'd say it's the two have-to-have ones are Draining Degeneration and the all-out effects, just because your immortality is going to last longer. Your Unstoppable and Indestructible from Heimdall are going to last longer. Everything's going to last longer. All of Hercules' buffs are going to last longer. You want it. And then Draining Degeneration, self-explanatory. As I already said, it's very helpful, very necessary. But if you can, I don't believe I get it in this one. If you can, you want the Armor Burst, just because it's going to give you that little bit of extra damage, and it's going to give you a little bit more survivability if you have the Thor relic, but not needed. Helpful, but not needed. The two ones you want to go for, Draining Degeneration and all-out effects, I believe it's what it's called. Whatever the one that gives you more buff duration. But guys, besides just some of the weird incursions crap that's going to happen, this is going to keep you alive. This is going to keep you pretty much flying through all of it. I think the first revive I used was probably zone 16, and then I didn't use one until that Kate Bishop boss that just kicked my butt so hard. Here in the Scorpion fight we're about to go into, I'll show you the perfect way to use it if you're at low health when you enter, and it's just going to save your butt. It's going to give you a lot more time to get that regeneration up. The regen's going to give you a lot more of a safety net, and then when immortality does trigger, you're going to have a lot more time with it. And with those Odin fights, it's not going to get removed by buffet or anything like that, and it is just a cheese fest. Angela cannot do this. Thang cannot do this. Hercules can do this with all of these gods on his team. So the god strategy is how you're going to want to go about this. I've been vying for a Legends title for a very long time. I was actually stocking up to do this event quest first to get the Legends title, and then I saw this and I thought this would be the best way to do it, and I'm really glad I figured this out. And I hope this strategy helps you. I know one of my Alliance members is trying it. I'll need to see how that works out with him, but this is the best way to do it. And it's not, it is parry heavy. Heavy attack is what you want to focus on once you get him to 12 strength, because everything, all the damage that you're going to get, Draining Degeneration, the heavy attack ones is going to be based off the heavy attack damage, which is insane on Hercules, as you guys know. So you want to focus on your heavy attack, and you want to focus on that special 3, because there's a node and incursions that you can get. It's going to multiply your special rating, which means you don't need to go to a special 1 first. Push to the special 3, launch the special 2, push to the special 2, launch the special 2. The stun is going to help out quite a bit. I don't think there's a fight left that goes longer than a special 2. Maybe the final boss, but you want to focus special 2, you want to focus increased stun duration, and you want to focus buff duration. Those are the things that are going to get you there. And once you are in the groove of it, it might get a little tricky at some point, but this is the easiest way to get the Legends title. 6-star Awakening Gem. It's the best way to do incursions. Another helpful hack, if you have Draining Degeneration, it's a very important if you need Draining Degeneration to do this, is the one where you get, when a non-damaging debuff expires, you get a Fury, because every time you hit the second heavy attack with the Draining Degeneration, it removes the power drain. and it counts for that node. So you're going to be getting Fury buffs every time you land a heavy attack, and it's going to increase your damage pretty exponentially. In that vein, you probably also kind of want to focus on the power gain on Furies, but those are really kind of just nice to haves. What you want is things that are going to buff your heavy attack. You want the heavy attack buff because the heavy attack for Hercules does the most damage, and it's going to get the most damage through draining degeneration, and then the poison one, and then the generic degen one you get normally. So this here's the final boss. I do believe I use a revive on this, but it's just one for the final boss, which is pretty spectacular. Let's see if I look at the nodes. Pretty, honestly, not horrible nodes. I think there's one buff eater. Is there? Yeah, Tranquility. Tranquility can screw you up. I think that's why I die. It's the only reason I die, just because it's not like a buffet node where you're just going to get those buffs and then it's done, and then you can just trigger immortality and then it won't matter, because even if your immortality is triggered, which I am 100% sure that's what happened to me, yep, Tranquility is going to remove it. So you really only have a 20-second window before you just die, unfortunately. That's the only thing that killed me. That's something to definitely watch out for. It's always something to watch out for, especially now. See, draining degeneration, putting in work, making sure you can't special 3 me. The special 2 comes in. Unfortunately, I got poisoned, or I got recoiled, and then I died. But if I hadn't, I probably could have cleared that in one without the revive. This video is wrapping up. Please let me know if you have any questions. Email me, put it in the comments. But this is the way to do it. I'll stake on it pretty hard. If you want the title, do it like this. Put on some boosters. Make sure to put on your boosters after Hercules gets all the Herald bonuses, because if you put on boosters while you have suicides on, it's going to take more damage and it's going to take you down. But if you do it when you're a Herald, you're actually still going to be healing, albeit a little bit less, but it's going to be worth it for the boost. You don't need to boost. I don't think I was boost for all of it, but it is helpful. If you are going to put on the boost, just make sure you do it after Hercules is a max Herald, so you're not taking unnecessary damage that you can't avoid. But I think this toad's going down right before the Tranquility. There we go. Oh, 2% left. And then that's it. Legends title, 6-star Awakening Gem. I think total you get 2 of the Tier 3 and Tier 5 basic. So, guys, do it. Trust me. Let me know if you have any questions. God Trinity is the way to go. And as always, have a nice day. Thank you for watching my channel. Go get that Legends title, guys.